Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And today, remember that the most difficult part of Sankirtan is just going out. After that, it's easy. Going out the door and in an ordered fashion means get in the right car, go to the right place, get out, touch the pavement, and don't get hit by a car or something. This is very important, the troop movement. This is the most difficult part of Sankirtan. If you can organize that, you can take over the world. So today, our main goal is to see how we can all go out together and do it in the most efficient way possible. Don't get lost on the campus. Don't get in the wrong car. Listen and carefully and move like ants. Ants are very organized. They know which way to go. They all walk together. They go to the right place. They do the right thing. So that's all you have to do today, is make sure that we all go out to the right place. And then when we get there, we're all going to touch the pavement in your group and get a photo. You have a WhatsApp group. Send it to the WhatsApp group as soon as you touch the pavement, okay? Everyone say yes.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, because we're human beings, we have the great ability to communicate. And that means more than orangutans or gorillas. Gorillas have vocabulary, pretty good vocabulary, but they don't have syntax. If they want a banana, they can say want, banana, banana, banana. They can't say, last week, if you had had bananas, I would have taken them then, but this week, I'm not inclined towards taking a banana. But we can. And the more you articulate, the ways that you present your speech to people makes a big difference in your life. In fact, I will say it makes all the difference in the world. Those who know how to communicate. And for book distribution, learning how to communicate, learning the right mantras at the right times will get you everything. You'll win the battle of Kurukshetra, just like Arjuna did, because he had all the right mantras. So this is a short course before I go back to the other slide deck where we took off yesterday on the MSF and then going into some of the principles of book distribution. So here's some principles and techniques for communication. Principles. Speak to the soul. Remember, when you're speaking to people, you're talking to a spiritual being. However that person's dressed, whatever that person's psychology is, and so forth, you may have to speak in a certain way, a certain language, but remember yourself that you're speaking to the soul, that person's actually a spiritual soul, and within the body, right next to the soul, is the super soul, Krishna. So we're approaching each person knowing that each person is a temple, a walking temple of Krishna. And the best place to worship Krishna is at that altar, where the conditioned soul is living and Krishna is living, and you're going there to speak to that soul, to give that soul something valuable. And Krishna likes that kind of worship more than any other kind of worship. You can go to the temple yourself, he'll appreciate seeing you. You can go and visit various temples around the world, but the thing that Krishna likes the most is when you go to the temple where the conditioned soul is living and he's living, and then you give some opportunity for that person. So remember who you're talking to. In the Sri Upanishad, it is said that one who systematically sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, systematically. Anupashyati, it means that you should follow what the scripture says. Even if you're not seeing it, you should remember in your mind what the scripture says and see it systematically, that each person is a soul. Next is to speak from the soul. Remember who you are when you're delivering this message. You are a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, 1,000,000 times removed. And so be humble and speak from your soul. You may use different kinds of language, but when you're remembering that you're a soul speaking to a soul, your demeanor, the way that you deliver the talk that you're delivering to the person, will be on a spiritual platform. So please keep that in mind always. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned by Prithu Maharaj that when those who are spiritually surcharged by chanting Hare Krishna, by purely worshipping Krishna with their intention to serve him more and more, speak, that speech is empowered. And poetically he says, when the voice of the pure devotee comes out, it touches the lotus feet of Krishna. At Krishna's lotus feet there are saffron particles. Those saffron particles are dislodged by the vibration of that person's speech. Now the speech becomes mixed with the saffron particles. So now imagine those sound waves, they're coming to you, but they're mixed with saffron mercy particles from the lotus feet of Krishna. They enter the ear, and that's why they have their effect. Our speech is powerful only to the degree that we're doing our due diligence to touch Krishna's lotus feet by our chanting, by our hearing about him, by remembering. So this is where empowered speech comes from, is by deep sadhana. There are austerities of speech to keep in mind. And remember that yoga begins with the tongue. Atashri Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indre sevan mukhi hijivhado swayameva spuratyada. Yoga begins with the tongue. You can't see Krishna with your blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to one who worships him beginning with the tongue. Jihva adau. And here are some austerities of speech. One is to be truthful, speak the truth. The only time in which you don't have to speak the truth there are rare circumstances in which telling an untruth will protect somebody's life. Somebody comes in to kill one of your fellow devotees, you don't say he's over there. That's not the right kind of truthfulness. Pleasing, beneficial, non-agitating, and regularly recite the Vedas. Remember also when you're speaking what's most interesting, what topic is most interesting to every person you're talking to. What is it? That person, everyone's topmost interest is one's self. What is the most interest topic to every living being? His or her own self. So if you want to be a good conversationalist, keep the topic on the other person. Because if you're talking about them, if you're asking about them, then they'll be interested in what you're saying. If you start talking about yourself, which is what most people do, because when people are talking to me, I'm thinking, when's this person going to stop talking so I can start talking about myself? And I'm going to tell them what I did, but it was much better than what they're saying now. Don't do that. Rather, just let your false ego go and appreciate what the person's saying and respond to appreciate what the person's saying. Dale Carnegie once said, remember that a man's name is to him the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So when you're dealing with people, if you remember their name and you address them by name, this will be very potent. Yes, Vijay. No, Vijay. Of course, Vijay. And hearing Vijay. Shukadeva Goswami said, it is his own self that is most dear to every embodied living being. It is simply for the satisfaction of this self that the whole material creation of moving and non-moving beings, living entities exists. So remember why people are moving for themselves, so that they can find some happiness in this world. So if you're keeping your communications on that level, you'll be right in the right place. What radio station is everyone listening to here in Gujarat? WIIFM. What's in it for me? This is what they want to know. So when you're talking and delivering books to people, you want to be able to hone the conversation towards what's in it for them. What are they going to get out of this? For instance, when I'm handing over a Bhagavad Gita, I say to people, there's a book on yoga and meditation. It shows how to become free from stress. Then immediately they hear, oh, this is something. I can get something out of this. Stay focused. Oftentimes when people are speaking, they don't know what they're talking about. There's claims and reasons, and I'm going to skip over them. But here's a principle I wanted to skip to because this will save you a lot of time. It'll save you about 80% of the rest of the time you have in life for higher purposes. Would you like to know what it is? Yes. Okay. Here are the principles for dealing with fanatics. Anybody ever met a fanatic? Fanatic, a person filled with excessive and single-minded zeal, especially for an extreme religious or political cause. Anyone meet somebody like that? Yes. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to deal with fanatics. You ready? First rule for dealing with a fanatic is don't. You can thank me later. I just saved you 80% of your life. So don't deal with them, and you're not obligated. The Srimad Bhagavatam says, Ishvare taradineshu balisheshu jusatsucha. I quoted it last night. You have to find out who's interested and who's not. And if somebody's not interested, they're only interested in arguing, don't waste your time, please. You've got better things to do. There are other people that you're looking for. So don't deal with fanatics. Find a graceful way to disengage and move away. Don't become agitated. Just get away before you get any goo on you from talking to them. Second rule for dealing with fanatic: when stuck, ask, what would it take to prove you wrong? But don't use that one. Just use the first one. Techniques. What is your philosophy? So when people are trying to argue with you or present something, this came from when devotees first came from the West to India with Prabhupada. And they'd meet people who say, I have my Swami, I have this Swami, that Swami, this Swami. And then the devotees would come back to Prabhupada and said, what about this Swami, and that Swami? And Prabhupada would say, don't assail the person, but ask what is his or her philosophy. Don't assail the person, don't say something about the person, but ask what is their philosophy, and then compare it to the Bhagavad Gita. Did you get that? Was that clear? Yes. Okay. So if someone says, what do you think of Swami Beyondananda? And you say, I don't know. Even if you know, it's like, I have no idea. What's his philosophy? And then when they tell you philosophy, then you can compare it to Bhagavad Gita and see if it matches up. Okay, now this one is worth the price of admission today. Whatever you paid to get in at the door, it's worth it just to learn this one principle. And if you don't take anything away from this seminar other than this, you'll still be successful. Become a master asker. Become a what?
Master asker.
Yes, become a master asker. Because whoever's asking the questions is leading the conversation. Now I have a quiz for you. Who is leading the conversation?
Who's asking the question?
Because I'm asking the questions, right? And if you tell people, then you're going to lose yourself and they're going to argue back. But if you ask questions, you're going to lead the conversation. Here's why. Make a question mark with your fingers in the air, like this. What does it resemble? Yes, it resembles a hook. So when you want to hook somebody and pull them in the right direction, you use a question. The question mark is the most important punctuation mark in any language. What is the most important punctuation mark in any language? You are correct. The question mark holds the conversation, it catches, it brings people back. For instance, when people are walking by and I'll say, I'm from California, where are you from? That's a hook. They go, I'm from Bangalore or Bengaluru. I go, you're from Bengaluru? And they go, yeah, really? That's another question. How long have you lived there? I'm asking more and more questions, so the person's like caught because I got a hook out. So asking question and brings people back. Sometimes people say, I'm in a hurry. So instead of telling them, no, take your time, that's telling them, I'd say, really? Are you in a big hurry? And they go, yeah, I'm in a big hurry. Then they say, do you want me to show you really fast? See, it's a question. Now, if they answer, yeah, you can show me really fast, then you've got yourself somebody's going to buy a book. But if you just tell them, no, stop, then you're putting more resistance. They'll just run away. So use questions, become a master asker. And remember that a question is a tennis racket. You could also make the mark again. If you just close it a little bit, it turns into a tennis racket. So now it reframes. So somebody asked me a question, and I don't like the question or I don't know the answer. So don't try to answer it. If you don't like the question, you're not obligated to answer. And the way to not answer it, if you don't like it or you need a better question, is to hit it back to them with your tennis racket question. And then you can always say this, how do you mean that? Everyone say.
How do you mean that?
How do you mean that? So ask me a question. No, ask me a question. Like, are you a Hindu? Ask me if I'm a Hindu. Oh, how do you mean that? See, I can't answer if I'm a Hindu or not because I don't know what a Hindu is, nor does anybody else anywhere in India or around the world. There's no actual definition of a Hindu that that we could all agree on. So if someone asks, is this Hindu? And they go, well, how do you mean that? What do you mean by Hindu? Make them define it. And then it's like, Hindu means, you worship all the gods in the universe and everything's the same and it all ends up one. Are you a Hindu? No, we're not a Hindu. So don't get trapped by questions. Answer a question with a question if you don't like it and you need it more to be more refined. Hit it back into their court. Turn to somebody next to you, ask a question, and a specific question, and then answer with, how do you mean that? On your mark, get set, go. Come on, turn to somebody next to you, ask a question, and then the other person answer with, how do you mean that? Turn to somebody next to you, ask a question. Turn to somebody next to you if you haven't done it. Did you do it? So practice answering questions with questions when you don't like the question that you're answering. Okay. If you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, we're moving on. A question is a looking glass. It clarifies. And I just showed that it clarifies what they're trying to ask you. And answer a question with the question, why do you ask? That's another thing that you can, why do you ask? Another question. Srila Prabhupada, woman reporter, why do you people shave your heads? Prabhupada, why do you shave your legs? Student guest, why are most of your followers young people? Prabhupada, why are most university students young people? Answering question with a question. Student guest, because that's a stage of education. Prabhupada, that's also the age of Krishna consciousness. See, Prabhupada set it up. He asked another question, so that person put it so he could, get the pitch that you like to hit. Don't swing at everything. If you don't like it, you ask a question until you get something that you like, and then boom. Okay, Srila Prabhupada, professor, why do you give sannyas to young people? Srila Prabhupada, what do you mean by young? Professor, silence. Prabhupada answers his own question. Young means about to die. Can you say, another question coming, can you say that you're any older or younger than they are? Pointing to his young students. You see the mastery in asking questions? You have to become a master asker. Don't go and tell everybody everything. Ask questions. You lead them in the right direction when you ask the questions. And you have to practice that. It's an art. At first you can start off with general questions like I showed you. These simple questions like, how do you mean that? And why do you ask? That keeps things going in a much better direction. Then you can perfect it and you'll learn how to ask the right questions. But ask, ask, ask. It holds the conversation. It leads it in the direction you want to go. It clarifies the conversation so you know what you're talking about and you have the right questions to answer. Okay, so these are questions you can ask people. Where's your hometown? What's your profession? What's your view on life? How many languages do you speak? That's a question I ask people a bit instead of asking where are you from. Sometimes people don't like that, especially from other countries. Like if you meet a Korean person and you say, where are you from? They can sometimes be taken a little bit aback. But if you ask this question, how many languages do you speak? And then they'll say 2. And they say, okay, English and what else? A Korean. Oh, you're from Korea. Annyeonghasimika, annyeonghaseyo, shilihamnida. Then you can tell what they ask. Do you have a full set of Srimad Bhagavatams in your home? That's a good question to ask. If you don't ask, you'll never know. And it leads to the next step, which is showing them a Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you believe in the power of prayer? That's a question I ask everybody at the end. When I show them the book and they've bought it, and they purchased the book, and then I ask them, do you believe in the power of prayer? Do all of you?
Yes.
Okay. People respond to sincere compliments. What do they respond to?
Sincere compliments.
Yeah, so find ways to sincerely compliment people. It'll never go in vain. You'll see people can absorb an unlimited number of compliments. They never get tired of it, amazingly. Sanatana Goswami told the Muslim jailkeeper, dear sir, You are a saintly person and are very fortunate. You have full knowledge of the revealed scriptures such as the Quran and similar books. How do you like that? To the jailkeeper, Sanatan Goswami. Universal confidence. I notice your eyes look spiritual. Actually, I don't use eyes anymore. I say, you look spiritual. Everyone say, you look spiritual. Turn to somebody next to you and say, you look spiritual. How do you look when how do you feel when somebody tells you that? How do you feel? Now, how about if you walk out of your ashram in the morning and someone goes, you look terrible? How do you feel then? How do you feel? Feel terrible. How does somebody go, you look tired? How do you start looking in the mirror? God, I do look tired. I feel terrible and I look tired. But when you meet people and you tell them, you look spiritual, that they suddenly develop self-realization. They remember, oh yeah, I am spiritual. I'm a spirit soul. I'm from the spiritual world. It's a very questions are that powerful. You look like you have some kind of spiritual practice. What's your secret? That's another one. Ask, what's your secret? Turn to somebody next to you. Say, what's your secret? Very powerful question because it puts you in a different position. You're now not condescending to them, trying to teach them something that they don't want to learn from you. Because little Jiva's walking around puffed up, thinking like, I'm the center of the universe. Somebody comes up here, take this book. And he's going, what are you talking to me for? I'm the center of the universe. I don't need anything. I know Bhagavad Gita. I read Bhagavad Gita. My grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. Why are you talking to me? And if you ask people, you say, you look spiritual. What's your secret? Say that to somebody. What's your secret? Then suddenly they become your guru. See, the position you want to take when you go out on book distribution is not, I'm everybody's guru. I'm going to condescend and tell everybody how it is. You go out there humbly. And you allow them to become the guru. You say, you look spiritual. What's your secret? How did you get like that? And then suddenly they'll become like, wow, somebody finally understands who I am. And I'm not kidding. These are not jokes. This is very serious. And I'm teaching these few things. If you just use these few lines today, very sincerely, this is not flattery. This is anupashyati. You're seeing that they're spirit souls when you say that. You look at somebody's eyes, which is a very difficult thing to do because there's somebody actually looking back at you right now. And you're going, whoa, who was that? If you're driving down the freeway and you start looking at into somebody else's car, they're going to like, stop looking at me. Because there's power coming out. There's actually a soul emanating consciousness. If you notice that while you're in Sankirtan, you'll stay Krishna conscious all day. And if you note that in people, that you look spiritual, what's your secret? You take a humble position and appreciate them, they'll warm up to you very quickly. I can tell by looking at you. Now here's something that really helps. Say this, I could tell by looking at you. So sometimes people say, I already give donations. I could tell by looking at you. Because they're saying it like, I already give. I already give. I could tell by looking at you. I already know Bhagavad Gita. I know. I could tell by looking at you. I know everything. That's something people say. I know everything. I say, I know. I can tell by looking at you. So when people give you this kind of way of and it's an excuse to say like, I already have something, I already know something, I'm the smartest person in the world, why should I take this? And because I know, I can tell by looking at you. This is one of the ways of honoring their objection. You take their objection, you appreciate it, and you honor it, and then it disarms the excuse. So I could tell by you come from a good family, and that you already knew this. Empathetic listening, if I understood you correctly, say that. So if when people say things to you, you say back to them, if I understood you correctly, and then you say the thing the person just said to you. Because that way they start to feel like, oh, this person is actually listening to me. And it is important to listen to people before you speak. Nonviolent communication, show in your reply that you've understood, even if you do not agree with what the person's saying. Get a consensus that both have heard and understood, and objectively explain the situation. Don't blame the other person for how you feel. Explain what you need or desire. Humbly request, do not demand. I'm skipping over some of this. We'll go into it another time. But I gave you the key points today, some of the messages that you can say. One of them is become a master asker. Remember to ask questions, give sincere compliments. One more. There's a couple of mantras I gave you.
You look spiritual.
Yeah, what's your secret? You look spiritual. What's your secret? Say that. You look spiritual. What's your secret?
You look spiritual. What's your secret?
Homework. If after touching the pavement today and you feel like trying book distribution, you don't have to. There's no obligation. All you have to do is touch the pavement today and you're done for the day. But if you feel like experimenting and you want to say to somebody, you look spiritual, what's your secret? Then you can try that as homework today and we'll report back this afternoon. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. One or two words can make or break a relationship. And this goes not just for Sankirtan, but for our daily lives. In your family, in your relationship with other devotees, be careful what you say. Austerity is the speech. Be pleasing, truthful, beneficial. Avoid speech that offends. Because one or two words, once you say it, you can't take it back. People, they can forgive, but they can't forget. It's very difficult to forget words that you let out. And especially don't put it on the internet. Because once you write it down, it's eternal. And you'll be known for that. And 20 years later, you'll be up for being elected president, and they'll bring it out. And they'll say, oh, this person can't be elected president, because look what they said 20 years ago on the internet. Okay, speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is. He had nothing to say, and then he said it. A fool is not discovered till he speaks. So inch by inch, it's a cinch. Principal summary and your reflections. We'll just take a couple quick reflections while you're switching over the PowerPoint to reflect back. What did you hear that stuck, or what did you learn from this that you think you could use today? What is it? Here, take the mic.
Speak from soul and speak to soul is my...
Yeah, speak from your soul, speak to the soul. Remember, keep that in mind. Yes, anupashyati.
Be a master asker.
Be a master asker. Ask all the questions and see then who's controlling the conversation. A couple more? What did you hear or learn? Yes.
Compliment genuine.
Yes, sincere compliments. People will like sincere compliments. Turn to somebody next to you, give them a sincere compliment. Go ahead. Wait. Turn to somebody next to you, give them a sincere compliment. Come on. Turn to somebody next to you, give them a sincere, nice kurta. Or is that a sweatshirt? I like it, it's very nice. It suits you. Thank you for always being here. You're always attentive, thank you. Thanks for passing the microphone around. You always have such a service attitude. Nice harmonium playing. Yeah, thank you very much. Doesn't that feel terrible? Don't you hate it when people give you a sincere compliment? So remember, when you go out, book distribution, or when you stay in, if you're with your family, if with your brethren, remember to give sincere compliments and see what happens in your life. It'll change. Yes?
We are going out to make them guru. We are not going to teach them something.
That's right.
So we have to be humble.
Let them be the guru. Make them the guru, put them on the Vyasasana. And you sit down below, and then you present. Don't sit up there and preach to everybody. Ask sincere questions and give compliments to the people. Let them be guru. Yes?
Like two points. We should talk to people according to their interest.
Yes.
And if someone is not interested, don't waste time.
I just saved you 80% of your time. Don't talk to fanatics. You're not obligated at all, according to Shastra. Best thing to do is to learn how to get away fast. And if you can't think of a way to get away, here's the modern way, is you feel your pocket where your phone is, and then you pull it out and go, oh, sorry, I gotta go. Nobody knows if it vibrated or not. You can just walk away and put it to your ear and get away as fast as you can. Because every second you save from having to talk to a fanatic is a second you can invest in Krishna consciousness. Two more. Yes?
Answer question by return questioning.
Yeah, answer a question with a question. Don't do it to annoy people, but do it when you need to in order to clarify or to lead the conversation in the right way. Otherwise it can be annoying. There's an old joke about two guys walking down the street together. It's in New York City. One guy's from out of town, the other guy's from New York, and the guy from out of town keeps asking questions about the city, and the New Yorker keeps answering a question with a question. And they get about 3 blocks, and the out-of-towner says, every time I ask a question, you answer with another question. Why do you do that? And the New Yorker looks at him and goes, why do you ask? Don't do that. But do use it judiciously in order to lead the conversation to serve people so you know what to say to them so that it'll actually help them. Okay, one last point. Yes, Prabhu.
Honor their objections.
Yes. This is so important. When somebody gives you an objection, honor the objection. Whatever they say, that's a really good objection. That's fantastic. Somebody says, I don't have time. It's like, oh, yes, you must be really busy. I really appreciate that. If somebody says, I'm not interested, and say, oh, yeah, I can really appreciate that. We're looking for people who aren't interested. So instead of conflicting with what they say, appreciate it. And it neutralizes it. Okay, that was Communications 101. There are a few principles in there that you can take, and it will actually change the way you interact with people, and you'll notice a difference right away. You'll notice it today if you start using these principles. So practice them and integrate it into your book distribution, and you'll see that they work. Foundationally, they work. Okay, so now I'd like to talk about the monthly Sankirtan Festival and why it's important. So the basic idea is that we live in communities with lots and lots of devotees. And if once a month we take an opportunity to all come together, when I say all, I mean everybody, to do some project together where we're going out into the great unknown to distribute books, prasadam, the holy names, and everybody gets to participate. It's not for a certain section of the community, but everybody, it's open to everybody to come and do service. Then what happens is that you have a point in time in order that you're building towards. In order to accommodate people going out on Sankirtan, you have to build very good systems in your community. For instance, today I noticed, there's a lot of us here, and if we all going out on book distribution together, then we really have to think about how we're going to get to the spot. There are going to be a lot of gaps today, and we're going to note the gaps, the things that didn't go right, and then we're going to fix them before the next monthly Sankirtan festival. And that's how you make progress over time. When NASA gets ready to shoot a rocket into space, they have a launch date, and they have to work towards that launch date to get everything ready. And that's called forced efficiency. What's it called?
Forced efficiency.
Yes, without forced efficiency in my life, then basically I can go for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years without actually doing anything. I can just remain in the status quo without improving. But if you have some forced efficiency, something you're working towards that is a worthy cause, it's time bound, then you're going to get better. So the MSF helps the whole community improve by having this point in time through which everyone's going to go out together on book distribution to distribute books. Now what happens when all the congregation goes out? They change from being Kanishta-adhikaris to Madhyama-adhikaris. You'll notice it yourself. In the Sri Upanishad, Prabhupada mentions that Kanishta-adhikaris have a certain quality, and that is they complain a lot. They find fault with other people for minor reasons. Madhyama-adhikaris, on the other hand, are always thinking about how to expand Sankirtan. They're thinking about how to do good for others. Now let me ask you a question. Which would you rather have as a congregation? People who sit around and nitpick and criticize others and find fault for little tiny insignificant things? A. Or B, people who are always thinking about how to spread the Sankirtan movement. So let's vote. A. Anyone? Anyone? Come on. Nobody? Okay, B. My proposition is that when you introduce the monthly Sankirtan festival and allow people the opportunity to go out into the great unknown and take shelter of Lord Chaitanya by trying to distribute books to other people, they'll rise to a higher level of devotional service, the Madhyama Adhikari platform. And you'll get a much more vibrant, productive, and agreeable congregation. So that's a benefit in and of itself. Monthly Sankirtan Festival is for everyone, and we have a fun, organized outing. Now when I say fun, it means fun. It means that everybody can come and have fun, and oftentimes we do things afterwards, like everyone will join together for a picnic, or we take a bus ride somewhere together. In Toronto, we went to Niagara Falls after one of our MSFs. And when you introduce ideas where everyone can be together, have fun together, everyone likes to come and join. And there's a recipe. Make it fun, use teamwork. We don't even report individual scores when we do the MSF. It's all about the team. Create fresh challenges. Means it's not just about the numbers, but also, for instance, we do MSFs called the MSF means Monthly Sankirtan Festival, of loving exchanges. In the Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami talks about the loving exchanges between devotees as being foundational for devotional life. Correct? Yes. Who knows the verse? Yes, say it.
Dadati pratigrihnati guhyamakhyati pritchati bhumte bhojayate chaiva shadvitir priti lakshanam.
Yes, so this verse enumerates the loving exchanges between devotees. So we have a monthly Sankirtan festival where that's the goal. We increase the loving exchanges between all the devotees. Prabhupada says that our movement is based on these, and that the movement was started based on this principle of going out and giving gifts to others and allowing them to give gifts in return. That's book distribution. So the other principle is to encourage the heck out of everybody. Encourage the heck out of everybody. Do you know how to do that? You know how to encourage other people? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, turn to somebody next to you and encourage them. Does somebody have a dictionary? Who has their smartphone with a dictionary on it? I'm going to tell you what encouragement means, because you don't look very encouraging to me. I don't think you know what the word means. I'm not convinced. All right, I'm going to look it up myself, since nobody here has a smartphone except for me, apparently. So here I go. I'm looking up encouragement. Encourage. To inspire with courage, spirit, or hope. To attempt to persuade. To give help. The word comes from Middle English, from Anglo-French, encourager, from en plus courage, which means the heart. It means to bolster people's heart, to give them heart. So, when you see somebody, you give them encouragement to help stimulate them, to help them move forward against all the obstacles in their life. Does that make sense? Have you ever tried it recently? Okay, 2 people have. I hear that from the audience. So now turn to somebody next to you that you haven't talked to yet and encourage them. When I say 3. 1, 2, 3. A lot of activity on this. 1, 2, 3, go. Encourage. Don't be afraid now. Come on, encourage the heck out of them. Thank you for coming all the way over here. This shows real enthusiasm that you drove from Baroda. Hare Krishna. Okay, stop. No more encouraging. Actually, a Krishna conscious community means encouragement. And really, the main thing that we do here is to encourage other people. And so the process of the MSF means to encourage the heck out of everybody. Do everything that you can to encourage. What did I do with my clicker? It's somewhere. Encourage me a little bit. It just disappeared. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama. No. Listen again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Thank you. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so goal number 1 for the monthly Sankirtan festival is to touch the pavement. See all these devotees out there? They're touching the pavement together. And all over the city today, I want you to touch the pavement and take a picture of it, okay? Because when you do that, then you go into the Hall of Fame. That you went out for this MSF, this is marked for the rest of your life, that you went out, you were brave enough to walk out the door and actually go to the spot, not knowing what's going to happen, and touch the pavement together with all your friends, okay? And that's the goal today. After that, anything you do is extra. You don't even have to worry about the result, okay? So there are many mantras that we use in the MSF. Book distribution is? Always better.
Service.
A lot doing?
A little.
Yes, a lot doing a little bit. Everyone can do a little bit, and that's natural. Nobody likes to do a lot. Just do a little bit. A book distribution is?
Fun and easy.
And?
Touch the pavement.
Right. So fun. We have fun wherever we go. For the door-to-door, this is interesting. Look at that. Now teamwork. Teamwork's very important. So working together as a team. And start small with the MSF and then grow gradually. And this yatra is so powerful. You have such a field for preaching, and you have so many empowered leaders here, all of you, that have come today, that you can grow into an empire of book distribution. You could actually be number 1 in book distribution in India without even trying that hard, just by following the principles and developing the MSF and engaging all of the congregation. So here's a few tips and ideas to ponder. Pick the right fruits. Now when you go to a tree and you're picking fruits, what kind of fruits do you want to pick today? Yeah, but what kind of fruits? Besides ripe, what kind of tree is it? Mango, okay. So with a mango tree, how do you know if the fruit is ripe or not? It has a different color. It's not green. It looks it looks yellow, red, and things like that. Does it smell different? A green mango and what does a ripe mango smell like? Sweet. The green mango? Sour. Okay. So there are ways in which when you go to pick from a tree, you're looking for the ripe mangoes. Green mango doesn't come right off the vine. It sticks on there. So let's say that you're going out today, and let's say after we touch the pavement, you decide you want to try out a few things just to see what happens. And you stop somebody, and they show that they're not interested. They're a fanatic. So the first scenario is you follow them down the street. Wherever they go, follow them and keep insisting that they take the book. And B is you just walk away and leave them with a good impression. A, who votes for A? B? Okay, B. So let the green ones stay on the vine. You don't have to pick them. The sun will ripen them in due course of time. That's why we sing Samsara Dava Nanalida Loka Chanaya Karunya Ganagana Tvam. Now here's a picture of a ripe fruit. See on the left-hand side? He was at Rath Yatra. He came for the first time, just walked in, went to the booth. He was so interested, ripe. Can you see from his countenance how he looks? Ripe? Yes. How about the guy on the right? Ripe or unripe? Yeah, you're right, actually. You can tell from his body language. He was actually trying to preach to Kinshana Krishna Prabhu over there about how Jesus is the only way. So now you see, there's unripe, right? And what's that? Right. How about this? Unripe. Come on, you got to work with me. Who's that? How was that? Right. How about that? Right. Keep up. You got to be fast. Because when you're on Sankirtan, you want to be looking ripe or unripe, ripe or unripe. And if they're unripe, don't get all upset. Just leave them on the vine. See, I'm saving you a lot of trouble. Because if you go out thinking, I have to find all the unripe fruits and turn them into ripe fruits, you're gonna expend a lot of energy unnecessarily. But if you just go out and you say, I'm waiting until the ripe fruit comes. Lord Chaitanya, you can even say this. Lord Chaitanya, I'm out on Sankirtan. I did my part. Now you please do your part. You send me ripe fruits. Otherwise, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to sit here. And see, he'll send you ripe fruits. You can do that. It saves yourself a lot of trouble. Don't make it too hard on yourself. Okay, now core and explore means there's 80% we already know what to do, right? About where to go, how to distribute a book. But take 20% of your time each day or during a month or a year to explore new ways of distributing books. Try new things, because a lot of times we get hooked on saying one thing all the time. Try something new, but 20% of the time. Okay? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Our prime directive when we go on book distribution is to... Now I want everyone to say this, the most important part of the seminar. Our prime directive is...
Leave everyone with a good impression.
Yes, if you go out with this mood that I'm going to leave everybody I meet with a good impression, whether they take a book, don't take a book, whether they scowl at me, whether they smile at me, I'm still going to leave them with a good impression. So that's our prime directive. Become ambassadors of goodwill. We are in the
Service business.
Correct. Our motto?
Always at the service.
Our mood, we are Krishna's. We remain. We go out for. We do service for. I save one soul at a time. Treat people with. Offer. Focus on. Preaching means. Don't be. Express. Practice. Make people feel special. Why? Yeah, they are special. Why are they special? Correct. You are correct. Okay, develop the habit of expressing sincere gratitude and thanks to people you meet, live with, or associate with. Here's a couple resources, ISKCON Book Distribution and DistributeBooks.com. Here, if you want to scan this, it'll take you right to the, watch out, it's a little sharp, to DistributeBooks.com. Here's one thing that you can get there. You see these? I advertised them last night. They're language cards. I don't mind meeting people from other languages or cultures because I got my language cards with me. And when I do, I just find out what language they speak and then they pull out their card and I hand it to them. And then they know what to do. You see that? So you can get that at distributebook.com and much, much more. Book distribution is? So reflections about the monthly Sankirtan festival or anything else we just talked about. Or questions. We'll take a few questions. What time is it and how much time do we have now? 4 minutes? 45 minutes. Okay. Questions? Become master askers. Yes, ask a question. And stand just a little bit over there because there are cameras behind you. Okay.
Ruchi, you have told very good icebreakers, but how to again connect to distributing books? Like
I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
That's coming up next. See? How to sell the Bhagavad Gita on its own merit. I'm going to go through all of it. Okay, any other questions? Yes. The question back there, right in the middle.
Hare Krishna. Sometimes people start to show their knowledge before us. Like once it happened with me, the man started his knowledge. Like he took my 20 minutes how can I leave him without stopping? He started knowledge. I had no Sanskrit prayers and all these things. He started to speak continuously 20 minutes.
Continuously?
Yes, he took my 20 minutes.
Was that after he bought the book or before? He didn't take?
No.
One thing is, if you're working with other devotees should notice that if you see a colleague that gets trapped, you should come over and help him out. Really, it helps, because that way the person who's being wrapped up there doesn't have to be rude at all. Because the other person can come and go, hey, come on, we got to go, it's time for lunch. And actually, I used to work with the devotee in the airport, and one day we were there distributing books together, and we had this rule: if we saw we were working side by side at a booth, and when we see that the other person was getting caught up too long, then we'd come and intervene and try to rescue him. So my friend Bhanabhata Prabhu was there, and he was talking to this man. The man kept asking more and more and more questions, and I was thinking, like, he's just wasting his time. So I intervened after about 10 minutes. I said, Bhana, I think we got to go. And Bhana told the guy, okay, yeah, I got to stop, I got to go, we're in a hurry, we're doing this. And the guy goes, oh, I'm sorry, here, I'll give a donation. And he pulled out $1,000. And then Bhana goes, oh yeah, okay, I'll talk to you soon. But to answer your question, if you see somebody that's being too much caught up, go and see if you can rescue them. And otherwise, you can be a little bit forceful but polite, and just tell people, first, I really appreciate what you're saying, but I have a few more people I have to talk to. And they won't mind. They probably don't even notice, how long they're going on. And if all else fails, the phone thing really does work. It's like, oh, excuse me, 1 second. I have to take this. I'm so sorry, and thank you very much. So you can keep that on reserve. Yes, Prabhu? In the back?
Hare Krishna. This is actually translated from the devotees here. There are two questions. The first question is that when during door-to-door book distribution, there are many people, they are asking that we have already books in our home, we have Bhagavad Gita. So why to take more Bhagavad Gitas then?
Okay, we'll get into that in a second.
Second question is that there is a digital available book on the online, Bhagavad Gita, everything available online. So how to convince them to distribute books, because everything is online. We have Gita on our app or online itself.
Sure. They're related questions. I'll answer the second one first. The second answer is that these books are deities. And although reading online, digitally, is convenient, books are aesthetically pleasing. So I bring this out to people, especially if they're Indians, and they're going to be mostly Indians today. They know the tradition of Scripture. Scripture is very special. In fact, in some practitioners actually worship Scripture. They'll have a place and they do puja to the Scripture because it's actually a deity. In the Puranas, in fact, it's mentioned that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. The first 2 cantos are his lotus feet. The middle cantos are his torso. The 10th canto is his smiling face. 11th canto and 12th canto is his crown. And so it's not different from his body. So we point this out to people, and oftentimes what I remind people is that actually this is a sacred object. And I remind them of the science of Vastu. In Vastu, every object that we have in our life has some influence over us. Whether we know or do not know, our environment has an influence over us. And everything that we keep in our home, it actually influences us in a certain way. With me so far? Yes. So now, we tell people, this book, by keeping it in your home, it actually attracts good fortune into your life. And when you keep it, when you respect literature like this, it attracts good fortune. I say, do you know where good fortune comes from? And before they answer, I say, it doesn't come from working harder. Because some people work 2-3 jobs, but they don't get ahead. It comes from the spiritual plane. So this book will attract good fortune into your life. I was at the airport, and one lady came by, and I showed her a book. She wasn't that interested. And then she said, why don't you give this to somebody who will read it? And I said, well, actually, you don't have to read this book. It's spiritual. It's so powerful that if you just keep it in your house, it'll attract good fortune. She goes, really? And I said, yes, that's true. So she said, all right, I'll give you a donation. I was standing there distributing, and half an hour later she came back. And she held up the book from a distance, about as far as I am away from Madhava Govinda. And she said, it's working. And I said, what happened? And she goes, I went to the ticket counter, they gave me an upgrade. And she went away like holding the book, like, this is fantastic. So I remind people that it's not just about efficiency, reading it online, but the book actually itself. Books have a rich tradition. To put a book together is a big deal. And to have that physically in your home, it actually attracts people. And I was at the Washington, D.C. temple about 10 years ago, and made an appeal during the Sunday program to buy Bhagavatam sets. And I said this same thing, that if you keep the Bhagavatam in your house, it actually generates a spiritual energy, and it's good for your kids. We actually sold 54 Bhagavatam sets that day. Now, right after the talk, a young man came up to me. He was about 20 years old. And he said, I want to tell you a true story. Something that happened to me. And he said, I grew up in Krishna consciousness. And as soon as I hit my teens, he said, I gave up everything. And it became very bad. I did everything wrong that I possibly could, every sinful activity, including taking heavy drugs. And he said, then I almost died from an overdose. He said, I took so much of the drug that my heart stopped, and they had to bring me back to life. It was an experience of death he had for a few moments. And he said, when I died, my heart had stopped. While I was in that situation, he said, I remembered my parents always kept a set of Bhagavatams outside my room. And every time I'd enter the room, I'd see the picture on the first canto. He said, when I had left my body in that state, my heart had stopped, I had a vision, and I saw the picture on the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said, that's what brought me back. And he said, since I had that experience 3 years ago, he said, my life has changed, and I've become fully dedicated to practicing Krishna consciousness. And he went on to become an initiated devotee and very inspired. So I mention this to people, that this is actually Krishna. And having literature in your house to respect is very important. And as far as Indians and Bhagavad Gita goes, when I talk to Indians, I don't hand them a Bhagavad Gita as if they're going to buy it. But what I do is, I tell them what we're doing before I hand them anything. And I mention to them, as they're the guru, I say, you know more than I do, that the world's problems can't be solved from a material position. They get solved from a spiritual platform. And that the Bhagavad Gita has those answers. And I said, so what we're doing, we're starting schools all over the world to teach Bhagavad Gita, and we're printing them in many languages so that people can read them. Japanese, in Spanish, in Chinese, and we're distributing all over the world. So what we're doing is a fundraiser, and we're collecting money to print more books. So we're going door to door and asking everyone for donations. So I find when I don't hand them the book, and I just tell them what we're doing, and appreciate the fact that they already know that it's an important thing to spread the Bhagavad Gita, then ask them for the donation, they're happy to give, and they give a lot. And after that, that's when I give them the books. I'll give them books, and they're happy to take them. Does that help? Okay. Now to the last section. How's everybody doing? Okay, stand up for 1 minute. for the last stretch. Put your hands way up in the air. Say Nityananda. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, that was a 2. Try to get to a 5. On 3. 1, 2, 3. That was a 4.5. Let's try to get a 6. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's sit down. This is the last section, and then we're going into a very exciting phase of the day, which is we're going to feel some adrenaline. That is, we're going to get into groups and we're going to go out and touch the pavement at our spot. You're not obligated to perform today. You don't have to sell a book to anybody. You don't even have to look at anybody. But just go out and see what it feels like to touch the pavement. And after that, if you want to follow somebody around who's selling a book and you want to watch them, that's fine. If you want to try it yourself, that's fine, but you're not obligated at all. Only thing that we want to do today is to find out where the gaps are. How hard is it to get out on book distribution? Where did we make any mistakes? And we want you to record them and bring them back for our afternoon session because we're going to make a list of them, okay? Yes. Say yes. Yes. Okay. Here are the few steps for selling a book. Now, I gave you a disclaimer about Indians, but I'm going to give you a general idea of the progression of how to sell a book, okay? First of all, read with me. Number 1, radar. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, engage. Very good. Okay. So here it is. I don't know if you have it in India, but this is what we call a radar gun. Do you have that? It's a radar. They shoot your car with the gun. It just puts out a wave. Huntsbury, they don't have radar guns in India? Yeah, you guys are lucky, huh? You put those big bumps in the road, you can't go fast anyway. Okay, so when they shoot the radar at your car, it gives a reading on the machine. It tells how fast you're going. And then they either jump in their car and they chase after you and they pull you over and then they charge you $200 to $400. Or they have somebody else chase after you and pull you over. But they know how fast you're going from shooting with the gun. So we also have radar. Put up your right hand. You have, in your radar, this is your little radar. You can shoot it at anybody and you'll get a reading back. So point it at somebody, not at me. Point at somebody else, and I want you to activate the radar with the mantra when I say 3. Point it, come on, point it. 1, 2, 3, hi, hi, hi. Now whoever you pointed at, what did you get back? What kind of reading? Hi. No, what did you see in the person? Yeah, because you're all ripe fruits. If I pointed this at a non-ripe fruit and I go hi, what kind of thing would a non-ripe fruit do?
Walk away.
Nothing. They pretend like I don't even exist. Right? Is that ripe or unripe? How about if somebody, I pointed at them and they say hi and they go, get out of here. Ripe or unripe? So when I get an unripe fruit, I follow them down the street and I try to get them to change their mind, right? No. Say no. No. So when you go to a tree and you find an unripe fruit, you grab it, you pull it, and if it doesn't come off, you break the branch and drag it down the street. Yes or no? No. Okay, good. So you're looking for ripe fruits, and the way you do it is with radar. If you say hi, 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 then and when somebody comes back with a smile, you go ripe fruit. You got your radar reading. If somebody comes back like they turn away. In Japan, when they had an umbrella, they just tip the umbrella down so you can't see their eyes. Not ready. Don't worry about it. You're not looking for the unripe fruits. You're looking for the ripe fruits. So what if it's 1 in 100? Wait. Let the other people go by. Let the fanatics go by. Let everybody else go by. Not ripe, not ripe, not ripe, ripe. And talk to the ripe fruits. You'll be very happy. So next thing is qualify. So before you hand a book to somebody, I need a Gita. Lucky thing we can get a Gita here at the Hare Krishna temple. I have the Gita. I know the Gita. My grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. So before you hand a book to somebody, if you stand on the street corner like this, everybody's going to know you're coming after them with a book. You're telegraphing from a mile away. So keep the book like this and stand back, cool as a cucumber in an icebox. You got to stand back and wait for them, or keep it on the table so they can't see. There's nothing in your hands. You're like, I can't hurt you now. I don't have anything in my hands. So have the book ready, but not like in your hands all loaded up, ready to go. So when you see somebody and go, hi. Answer me. Hi. Hi. Not all of you, just him. You give him the microphone. I'm from California. Where are you from?
I'm from Gujarat.
Gujarat. I love Gujarat. Now see, I qualified him. I didn't just go up and say, here. But I asked him a question, a qualifying question first. First of all, I tested to see if he's even alive. And I go, hi. He's alive. He said hi back. Not only that, he's smiling. He's a right for. And now qualifying, I say, I'm from California. Now what am I doing? I'm asking a question, right? What does a question do? It's a hook. Questions are the answer. Remember? Be a master asker. So I'm asking a question. I'm not telling him something. And I'm also not asking a yes or no question. Because if you ask a yes or no question, it's like, do you do yoga? They go, no, and they keep walking. Ask them a question where they have to give an actual full answer. It's like, I'm from California. Where are you from?
I'm from Gujarat.
I love Gujarat. This is the cleanest place I've ever seen in my life. Now see, that's the way you start a conversation instead of just like walking up to them and insisting that they take something out of your hand, because they don't know where you came from. And they have no relationship with you. But you can build a relationship within a few seconds by announcing yourself and then asking a question from them. And when they give you the answer, just appreciate the heck out of them. Whatever they said, wherever they're from, find something that you can appreciate, okay? So this is qualification. Next is trust the hand. Okay, you can come up here. Give him a hand. Bring him up here. You do this in India? No, try it. There you go. Okay. Now, look at the picture here. You'll notice something very interesting about this. You see, this devotee is Sri Gopal Prabhu. He's handing a Bhagavad Gita to this lady. Look at her face. Her face is going, I'm not sure I want to get involved here. Right? Can you see that? Can you see the hand? The hand's going, I don't mind. I'll go for it. So in their mind, they may be going like, don't do this. And the hand goes, no, I'll take it. So trust the hand, because when you put a book in somebody's, stand over here, when you put the book in somebody's hand, then watch. Did you see his hand? Here, watch it again. Did you see that? The hand comes out, and it goes like that. And if it doesn't come out right away, I go like this. So don't deal with the brain or the face. Deal with the hand. Just look right at the hand and go like, here, little hand. Here you go. And put the book in their hand, because once you hand it over, now they have a visceral sense of the book. They're actually holding it. Books are nice. They have some weight. They're colorful. They got knowledge inside. So people got it in their hand. Now, when I'm handing the book over, I'm telling them something. And here's a mantra that I say as I'm handing the book over. Watch this. Turn this way. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Okay, watch again. The book is making an arc. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Ready? Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Okay, now everyone you say it. Books on yoga. Now, what are we missing here? Because I'm telling them something. So what am I missing? Don't tell, but ask. So here's the question. The hook comes at the end. So, books on yoga and meditation show you how to get free from stress. You've heard of stress, right? So that's a question, right? You've heard of stress, right?
Yes.
Yes, he's heard of stress. Really, you don't look stressed. You look spiritual. Am I telling or asking? No? What am I doing? Are you telling or am I telling or asking? So what do I need now? Correct. What's your secret? What's your secret?
I don't know.
What did he say? Okay, if somebody says, I don't know, then you help them out. Do you want to leave it at, I don't know? So you'd say, I don't know?
I don't know.
Really, you must just be a natural. Or say, I don't know?
I don't know.
You must come from a good family. You just come from a good family. You're a natural.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, see? Okay, so what's your secret? Then now I take the book back because he's already explained that, and we've established that he's a spiritual person. He already has an idea of what this is all about because he's spiritual. So now I just show him the book a little bit. So I take the book back and I show him some of the things. In your books here, you have in the front, you have the universities, right? Now, one thing that I do mention to people, of course, this I'm modifying as I go along because it's a little bit different in India, and you don't have to use the Gita for this line that I'm just telling you, right? Because people know the Gita, they're kind of familiar with it. But you might show another book and talk about stress here and use these same things. But then you show them something in the book to help, like in the front of this Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned many universities that have appreciated this book, right? See, these, out of all the different Bhagavad Gitas, this is the one most used in the universities and colleges all over the world. So that's one thing that'll show them. And then I'm showing them really quick. How fast am I showing?
Really quick.
Yes, because they're thinking, how long is this going to take? Is it a Bhagavatam class? And then I mention names. Now this is for people who don't know about Bhagavad Gita. I'll mention Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, and people like that have read the book. And then I'll ask them if they can read this, the Sanskrit. And they'll say no, and I say I was just testing you. And I'll tell them that the Bhagavad Gita has been translated over 400 times, but out of all the translations, this has become the most popular in all the universities. Then we show the pictures. So inside the book, these pictures are actually what really get people interested in the books. So there's a plate here of changing bodies. So I say, look we all start here, we end up here, we're just passing through. Life's a quick journey. So I'm showing them this picture here. And I say, look, we start here, we end up here, we're just passing through, and then I'll ask them, where are you in this? So where are you? You say, where are you in this? Here? Here? Here. Okay, you're there. I'm over here. I was here 5 minutes ago. And then you can turn to the next page, you see? And this one is about the sages. And you can say on this one, look at, a self-realized person treats everyone with respect because he or she sees that the Supreme is within everybody's heart. That word respect, people really like it, right? And then we ask, you've heard of karma, right? You've heard of karma?
Yes.
What does it mean to you? You say, what does it mean to you?
This may last previous birth reactions.
He said previous birth reaction. Now I want you to see my reaction. I go like, whoa, what a great explanation. Did you see that? Okay, now I'm going to ask you. You've heard of karma, right? Use the mic. What does it mean to you? So the karma, what does it mean, karma? What does karma mean to you? Karma.
I listen sometimes, but I don't know what is karma.
Just say what karma means.
Karma means, I don't know what is karma.
You do know what it means. Say what it means.
Say,
Okay. Coach him. You need to coach. Coach, come up here and coach him. Come on. Some coach come up here. Tell him what to say.
karma means what we do in real life.
Now watch my reaction. Whoa. What a great explanation. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better world to live in. Okay, what does karma mean to you?
Result of past life.
Whoa. I really like the way you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it'd be a better world to live in. Are you catching it? What does karma mean to you?
What you do comes back to you.
Comes back to you. Whoa, I really like your explanation. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better world to live in. Now you ask me. Well, you know, stuff goes around and around, and there's rainbows and rabbits and all kinds of stuff. Now you do your thing. See, look, you go like this. Whoa, whoa. I really like the way you put things. Come on, do it. Whoa, I really like the way. If more people in the world thought like you, the world would be a better place to live. Okay, so try it again, and I want you to really overemphasize it. Ask me again what karma means to me. Well, you know, it's cosmic. Stuff goes up and down and all around. If more people in the world thought like you, it'd be a better world to live in. Okay, so this part you really get into it. And if more people in the world thought like you, the world would be a better place to live. Everyone say. By the way, you can use that anytime during your presentation. It doesn't have to be about karma. If somebody says anything to you, it's like, whoa, I really like the way you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better world to live in. And people are like, wow, okay, this person really gets me. And then you can show them this picture, and you can ask them this question. What do you do professionally? Actually, I don't know if that picture's in your book. It is? Okay. What do you do professionally? I'm a civil engineer. I'm a Sunday school teacher. Anybody here? I'm a dancer. Okay, so then we say, really? This guy used to be a civil engineer. Really? This guy used to be a Sunday school teacher. Really? This guy used to be a dancer. So you got that. This is the last thing that you show them, and you say, what do you do professionally? What do you do professionally? What do you do professionally? What kind of work do you do? Huh?
Financial planning.
Financial planning. This guy used to be a financial planner. Now, 50% of the people will laugh right away, and the other 50% will go, really? And then you go, no, not really, I'm just kidding. And when they laugh, that's when you hand the book back, and when they're laughing. So you hand the book back. Now I'm handing the book back, and I say, we don't sell it like in a bookstore. Say. We only ask for donation. We don't need the money. The only reason we ask is that it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have passed it down over many generations and allows you to enter deeply within the knowledge. And so now, as I explained last night, when we ask for donation, it's not for us, it's for them. We're telling them, you do this and it'll give you more qualification, it'll bring you good fortune to be able to give something for spiritual knowledge. And then if you like, you can tell them how much it costs. For printing and shipping, it costs us, how many rupees would you say for this book? 150? 150? Yeah, it costs us about 150. Anything you give over that is a donation, we say. It costs about 150. Anything you give over that is a donation. Then they say, I already know about this. Right? And we say, that's great, I could tell by looking at you. They say, I'm a Buddhist. Right? Who's got another book? A different book. Give me, yeah. Okay, here it is. Okay, here's this. I'm going to meet a Buddhist. Okay. Now I'm going to hand you the first. You reject it because you're a Buddhist, right? Books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress. Take it first and then look at it. And then say, sorry, I'm a Buddhist.
I have this book.
No. Say I'm a Buddhist. Okay, he's a Buddhist. Okay. Oh, as soon as he says he's handing it back to me, right? Let's start to hand it back. And see, don't go like this. No, keep it. Because whatever you resist will persist. So he's handing the book back to me, right? Have you ever had this happen?
Yes.
Okay, watch. He's handing the book back. Watch what I do. Say, I'm a Buddhist. Start handing it back.
I'm Buddhist.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Here. This one's for you. And I give the next one. And so people, if you resist what they're rejecting, it will strengthen it in their mind that they need to resist more. But if you go with the flow, you honor their objection. You're honoring that energy. You take it back, but then you can give them another one. And say, okay, here's the Buddha one. Now say, like the Buddha taught, body is like a house. We're only living in the house. And when we reach perfection, we understand we're not our body. And then they'll go, okay, very good. I'll take the Buddha book. All right? And whether the person's a Jain or Buddhist or a Muslim, I was outside an Indian store with a group of young Indian students showing them how to do book distribution. Muslim man came out. He goes, sorry, I'm a Muslim. I go, I'm sorry. Here, we'll give you the Muslim book. And so the young Indian students, they were going, what? I said, that one. So he handed me a Krishna book, and I said, here, you take this, because that's all I had on hand. And I explained it to him in different terms. And I explained, listen, Allah's within everyone's heart. The main purpose of life, develop love for Allah. And nowadays everyone's just distracted by the things of the world, thinking this world's permanent, but it's not, it's temporary. So our main job is to develop love for Allah, and he bought the book, the Buddha book, or the Muslim book, called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I may blank whatever designation they've given to themselves. They say, oh great, then I'll show you this one. Just give them a new one. Are you selling this? Are we selling it? No. We refuse to sell it. Say this. It's too valuable. We just asked for a donation. How much should I donate? We try to keep it under $100. That's $100, not rupees. We try to keep it under $100, but in your case, we're thinking about making an exception. And after they buy the book, then we say, do you believe in the power of prayer? And they say, yes. And then we teach them the Maha Mantra. So you give them a card, and you say, please repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then after that, we give them prasadam. Where'd it go? There it is. You give some prasadam, cookies, lollipops that we offer to the deities, then get their contact information so we can follow up with them. And you can use these, you can create these so they can go right to a landing page. It's much easier. Where's that QR code? See it in back there? If you create these for your MSF team, just keep it in your bag. When you're getting people's information, just pull it out and here. They can just shoot it with their camera, and it'll take them right to a landing page where they can put in their information right on the spot. That's the easy way to get their information. And then thank them for taking their valuable time. Thank you for taking your valuable time. It's been an honor meeting you. Give them a hand. 2 more, come on. Thank you. Okay, and leave everyone with a good impression. Did something happen? Okay. Leave everyone with a good impression. And remember today to touch the pavement and take make photographic evidence that you made your goal for the day, touching the pavement. And now just take 2 minutes to see if you have any final questions. And part of waiting for the question is part of the 2 minutes, so keep that in mind. Any last things you want to ask? Yes?
How do we really manage when they show us our own books?
How do we manage when they show us their own books?
They already have our Gita or some other books.
Oh, we're very happy to see it. We become an ecstasy. They say, I already have your Bhagavad Gita. But we got plenty more where that came from. So when they say, I already have one, and they say, perfect, great. Here's the next one. Here's the next installment. And so, like Vijay Prabhu, he always says to people, do you have the Bhagavad Gita? Or they say, I have Bhagavad Gita. I say, great, you need the Bhagavatam. That's the next step. So just give them the next book. A couple more questions?
How to keep the interest? You go to the 9 people, they say, no, then you lose interest.
9 people is not very many. Go to 100 people who say, I'm not interested, and number 100 will be a ripe fruit.
Prabhuji, you mentioned about prasadam at the end. Is it good to have all the time when we go for a book distribution?
Yes.
Prasadam?
Take prasadam with you wherever you go. Even when you're not on book distribution, you should take prasadam with you. Say if you go to the bank, right, and you go up to the bank teller, you give the bank teller a nice cookie. Then the next time you go back, give another cookie. They'll be they'll start to get to know you. Third time when you go back, you give another cookie and they'll go, who are you? And then you can give them a book. But liberally take prasadam, take it in your bag when you travel, everywhere you go, give out prasadam. Give it to animals too. You should take prasadam for animals whenever you see animals walking around. Say, hey, listen, I know you're having a rough day. You come over here, I want to give you a little something. They'll be like, hey, I'll be your friend. Okay, 2 more?
Sometimes we get this argument that we have many books and we don't have time to read, and sometimes someone says that the fonts are too small for us to read, it's not readable for us. So how would we answer that?
We have free reading service. We'll come to your house and read it to you out loud. Okay, so yes, Prabhu.
If sometimes we get some negative questions like it is a waste of time to read Bhagavad Gita, what is there in Bhagavad Gita? So how to respond to those questions?
If somebody asks you, if it says something insulting like that, you probably don't have a ripe fruit. So you can feel free to start moving along. But if someone says, oh, there's nothing worthwhile in the Bhagavad Gita, then say, like what? Like which points do you mean in the Bhagavad Gita that are not worthwhile? And they won't even know because they don't read Bhagavad Gita. Anybody who reads it knows that it's something worthwhile. So now we've come to the time for prasadam. So we're going to sing the prayers to prasadam together. Sharirat vijaja jyotindriya aheka jive pele vishaya sagare Maje jivayati Lobo moisu dhurmati Take jeta katika samsare Krishna boda doyamo Hori vare jivaja Shapashanadilo Shreyanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Gato Shri Chaitanya Lika Preme Gato Chaitanya Lika Navitale Govinde Namagamani Vaishe Sampapunya Vatanrajan Vishwaso Nagare Krishare Savadika Nam Bhanirasyo Gajayate Vakhanate Tasoyasu Dhunipaya Vatishtete Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasadiki Gopremanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo And now we have a couple of announcements about we'll take prasad and then where to go to get out to our spots. To touch the pavement. Get in the photo, even if you're only going out for the photo op, just go out to get in the picture. That's all you have to do today, okay?
I tried for 1.5 hours, but no Singa could get distributed. At the last moment, my mind was transferring towards the Kirtan. So I needed to move towards the Kirtan. I put the condition towards the goal that last time I am giving. Okay, then the person came and I gave some ideas of the books and he purchased the one book. And I was thinking that no scope is there because everyone I think is a Muslim. So at the last moment, 130 was there. I went to know like he helped me a lot.
This mother's reflection.
Yes.
She was distributing a book to a bangle lady who was selling bangles. So she said like I'll buy a bangle, you buy a book. So even though she was a Muslim lady, she bought the book.
Hare Krishna. As you told that feel comfortable outside your comfortable zone. So 20 to 25 minutes we tried together 10 devotees, but none of the book was sold. So we both have decided to go another street, and within half an hour we sold 6 to 7 big books, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna.
You have to show more books. Just I was showing Bhagavad Gita, everything. One by straight away came. I don't want Bhagavad Gita, I want some other book. Okay, you like Krishna. How much? 200. He gave me 200 here, and he got it within 5 seconds. Everything is done.
Hare Krishna, as you told that we should get the books and show the book. One person came and invited us in our shop and very nice manner he told us and he took the Gita and used books.
He invited you in.
Yeah, he invited.
He came and got you.
Yeah.
Said, come in on my shop.
Yes.
So on the Sankirtan today, we got 2 invitations. A person came and asked us that what are you all doing together? I said we are a family and we go for Sankirtan like this for the purification of the society. So he said that I want to invite you to one of my temple where 5,000 people are coming on once a month, and to my society also where we have 150 apartments. So he was highly impressed. He was dancing with us in the Kirtan and he invited us for book distribution.
Wow, big connection, right? Very nice. When you go out into public, you make connections. And our movement grows by connections, meeting people. Okay, in the back, there he's got his hand up.
Hare Krishna. Your idea of compliments really worked. I approached one person and he was having no money, like very limited money, and he wanted to go back to his home. So I tried and I gave him some compliment and tried to explain about the Krishna book. So he immediately took the Krishna book and he extended himself and gave 150 rupees. And so he tried, like the compliment really worked, the technique of giving compliments. And then I was with Vaisesika Prabhu and we were going, and one Maulvi invited us. He was Rafiq Maulvi, and he invited us and he told us whatever books. Actually, Vaisesika Prabhu was praying. We were trying, and nothing was working. They were praying, and that Maulvi like from himself invited us, and he told us whatever books you are having, give me all books. We were not having Mahabharata or Ramayana and anything other, but Srimad Bhagavatam. He told us, I'll come to ISKCON temple and take Bhagavatam or whatever books you are having, and I'll read all these things. He also taught us Islam also, basic principles of Islam. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo.
Mauli means priest.
Mauli means priest, okay. Okay, up here, front row, second row. Hare Krishna.
I realized that you told the more we show, the more we tell.
Yes.
So I realized when we the area where we put all these stalls and Bhagavad Gita on the table. So in that area, I distributed more than I was roaming here and there. So that attracted people keeping stalls and etc. And there was a beggar, small girl. She came to me for begging, and I handed her one small book, and she gave money to me.
Haribol! Keep going. Yeah.
And also a funny thing happened. It is the same thing that the more you show, the more you sell. When I was having a Gujarati books, somebody came and asked me, do you have Hindi? Somehow I collect a Hindi and gave it. Then when I was keeping Hindi and Gujarati together, somebody came and, do you have English? And then I collected again the English and gave. Then I was keeping all the three, then somebody came and said to Gujarati, so all the three was attended. But I learned a lesson that the more you show, the more you learn.
Bravo. Nice.
The thing I realized was whether anyone bought a book, it was small or big, or even if they did not buy a book, they were very happy. Only speaking with us, they got to learn so much, so we left a good impression on them.
Beautiful. Nice. Excellent.
Earlier, I came across all unripe mangoes. So I was praying, I wanted some ripe mangoes. So, and I wanted to talk with them. So I prayed to Krishna to please give me some intelligence. So people all were never shopping. So I talked with them, oh, you are here for shopping, why don't you shop for your soul? So this is the book for the soul. So that line impressed them so much that they were stopping buying the books. And then the one you mentioned in seminars that we had to tell them that they know more than us. So that's what I read also. That I told them that you are my guru and you know more than what I know. So that really impressed them, and they gave so much donation on show. Even though they had books in their home, but they bought the books and they gave a nice donation.
Well done. Very good. Yeah. You're bringing out a lot of important principles. That was one of the ones we talked about. It. Put them on the Vyasasana and make them your guru, and then they'll open their heart. Tadvidi pranipatena prashan. A few more. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience? It doesn't have to be good. It can be bad too. Yes.
Normally what happens when we go for book distribution, first in 1.5 hour we cannot get the result. But when we depend on Guru and depend on Krishna and we pray to God, please do something for me because I want to do devotional service. Please help me. At that time, Lord Krishna and Guru help us. Same thing. My wife was thinking like that. I could not do book distribution. I have not even a one book of Bhagavad Gita distributed. But at that time, once the bookstore, one bookstore person have come and he wants Bhagavad Gita, and there's such a way he can do something. He can do the book distribution about the Bhagavad Gita and also small book. We have 5 books. We have distributed 5 books small and 1 Bhagavad Gita. So that's the way we can do something devotional service.
Nice, excellent. Up in front.
I met a youth girl and she was new to Ahmedabad. She just shifted from Ranchi and she was telling me she was feeling very alone because this was a new place for her. So I told her, take this book, you are new and Krishna wants to come to you. So she was very happy to hear this, that Krishna wants to come to her, and she took the book.
Nice, well done. You know, please. Hare Krishna. Hold it close.
मैंने बहुत सारे छोटे बुक्स दिया था, तो मैं ट्राई करी थी कि एक बड़ा बुक मैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करूँ. तो इतने में मेरे पास एक जम्मू से एक लेडी आई थी, तो मैंने कहा आप यहाँ के नहीं हो, पता नहीं तो जम्मू से आई हूँ, आप द्वारकाधीश के दर्शन करने के लिए आए हो. तो मैं कहा आप द्वारकाधीश से आए, तो आपको कृष्णा ने मुझसे मिलाया, आप एक कृष्णा बुक ले लीजिए. तो शी परचेज थे.
Haribol!
She was giving one small, she wanted to give a Mahavir. So she was praying, and then she met a lady who came from Jammu to take darshan of Dwarkadish. And then she told that why don't you take this Krishna has come in the form of Bhagavad Gita.
Nice.
This is Mother's realization.
Yes.
We both got together and one couple passed by, and he gave a nice donation. But he said he didn't want Bhagavad Gita because he already had many. So luckily Mataji had Krishna book, and she showed Krishna book to him, and he got Krishna book. So the more you show, the more you sell.
That's right. Very good. Excellent. What else? What did you see, hear, experience, realize? Sharing means caring. Right in the front, Vamshuli. 2 in the front.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One of the things I realized today is don't judge.
Was what?
Don't judge people.
Don't judge people.
There was a poor boy, maybe about 10 years old, and even before everybody started with the books, he just came and stood in front of the in the circle, and he was right next to me. He was curious. He was looking at the books, so I showed him some books, and he was eager. But 2 other people came and said, "Don't give it to him. He won't read it. He doesn't know how to read," and they were discouraging. So I asked them, "Will you take the books?" And they said, "No, we already have them." I said, "Okay, let him take it. He doesn't have it." They buy one for him. And they walked away. But this boy wanted the book, and maybe he couldn't afford it, but still he took a 10 rupee note out of his pocket and he gave the money for the book. And that made me learn that we should not judge people, that this person will buy, that person will not buy. We don't know who's the recipient, and we just have to serve.
Exactly. Very nice. Good lesson. It helps you to go beyond the bodily concepts when you're there, and the mind tells you one thing, but you do your duty, and then you see something else.
I think the same realization, don't judge. A person was there who seemed to not have even a penny in his pocket. But I just approached him, and he took one book and immediately took out 50 rupees. So that was another example of not judging and not going on externals.
Yes. You never know, right? What's going to happen?
This is this mother's realization. She was distributing book, and a 15-year-old girl wanted Krishna book and Bhagavad Gita like very badly. And she insisted her mother and her aunt, who were busy in shopping, but they didn't pay any heed to her. So that little girl took out 50 rupee note from her own pocket and bought Bhagavad Gita.
You had a good team out there. Very nice. Excellent.
There are multiple of the things that happened. One was
Actually, why don't you face the audience so everyone can see you?
so while going, we met some Muslim shop people. They told me, we showed them the books. He told, we don't want. He told, okay, then we asked, why don't you just give a donation just for helping the cause, for giving for Allah. He said, okay, we'll give for Allah, we'll not give for other people, other gods. Okay, give for them. Then they gave, and then they gave some books to them, and they were happy with them. That was one. And then another was while we were one person, he actually told that I already have this books, but I wanted another one for giving it to someone. He told, but I don't have a lot of money. Then I told, okay, you give whatever you can. And then he gave, and then he told, I remember you every day for giving me this book for this.
What was that last thing you said?
He said, I will remember you for giving me this books, and I will try to come to the temple and I'll give the temple.
Nice.
Another small thing, one lady, one beggar in the beginning, we showed her the book. She told, give me the book and I will sell the book to someone and I'll take money for that. I told, okay, you take the book and you give something from your side. She told, no, I don't have anything. Then it was written insistent, and then she told, okay, I'll give you something. And then she pulled out 10 rupees and she...
Arriba.
Just remember one incident. We were doing kirtan and one man was shooting a video of the kirtan. So I thought I'd let him get in and make him dance. And Vaisesika Prabhu was just distributing the books to nearby. So he was shooting the video, he wasn't knowing that I was going to approach him and drag him to the kirtan. So I made him dance, and in a short time he came there, and then naturally he ran out from the kirtan. And he came to the guy and he said, okay, this is a book distribution. So he showed the Gita and he was like, okay, something is going to happen here. So then he took the book from him. It's like more visual wisdom.
Yes.
Actually, I told that guy, did you enjoy the Kirtan? So he enjoyed very much the Kirtan. So I told him that if you want to enjoy the Kirtan, then you can read this Bhagavad Gita. He took it.
That's really nice. Beautiful.
It's kind of appreciation for what you inspired us through 2 days. This is the first experience we went on MSF and it was really a fun. So thank you.
Was it fun going on the bus together?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, when the whole community comes out, at least once a month, then it lifts everybody up. The whole community feels it because the Sankirtan is like breathing. When we exhale, you know, we take out carbon dioxide, it goes out of our system. And we inhale, we take in oxygen. So the oxygen, we're feeling it now. We've all just been out and meeting people. You didn't know what was going to happen. You know, we went out together just to try. And Krishna fulfilled our desire, that He gave us strength to go out and work together and distribute books. And He gave us so many realizations. And then when you come back into the temple environment, everybody around you feels that, oh, there's some spiritual oxygen now that you got from the outside and you brought it in. And while we're inside, there can be our perspective gets limited by the nature of the modes. We get limited, just like Vamshuli Prabhu was saying that, you know, your mind can start judging, and Sanjay Krishna Chandra Prabhu was saying also, you know, you can start thinking mentally. But when you go out, you realize how unlimited it is when you take shelter of Krishna. And you give up that limited conception that you have, all the hesitation, that's the carbon dioxide going out. So in order for a community of devotees to be healthy, it has to breathe. You have to go out and then bring back in that realization and then take out all those fears and hesitations and mental conceptions, and you take them out and you let them go out there, and then the community becomes more and more healthy. And the people that weren't able to go out this time, they'll pick up on the fact that everyone's talking. Guess what happened? I saw this. And the energy in the whole community gets lifted because of that. Let's take a few more. Hansapriya.
So for being an outsider, it was very interesting for me watch that. Prabhu was driving us to the place, to the destination, and we were sitting in the car. We had Mukund Mataji, and of course it's in India, and whenever you stop, somebody knocks at your window. And here this lady, freezing air, this baby in her arm, she knocks the window. And Mukund Mataji totally, observing what happened in the morning. And she said, she's supposed to be giving up the donation. And then we got to the place, and then I was kind of a little bit tired, and all of a sudden I realized that we are at the place, and I see now this bus loaded devotees, like they're everywhere, every corner. You turn around and you see the group of devotees or one, two devotees in each corner. Like you turn around and you see the devotees passing out the books, and it just gave me that the nectar from the morning and devotees being out and passing out this mercy. It felt like that gopi who had a jewel in the basket, and devotees were receiving something small, but they're giving out all that very precious jewels to the community. And it just very much enlivened and really gave me very much joy in my heart watching each country being out and taking this mercy that we have received, and it had a really huge empowering energy out there.
Oh, right here.
We were trying for a couple of 4 or 5 people, they were not taking. There was a shop on the backside of us, it's a Muslim man. He was very happy that how he was trying to teach them or tell them. So he came and asked me, did you read Quran? I said, I read few but not fully. So he said that you were very sincere in selling this. So he took Bhagavad Gita and also one small book. And he said that there are very less sincere people who are reading these books and properly. Since you are trying it, I am taking these books. I was very happy. And there was one, and most of the people who took books from us, I feel like 80% of Muslims. So they are very open-minded. I feel the sort of positive energy. And I think the positive energy, because there were like 100 devotees went out there, and they were like, it's like 100 people went for a walk. That was the ambience there, and a lot of introducing the spiritual blood has been increased in me at least. Thank you.
Yeah, think what that marketplace would be if we hadn't gone there. If we hadn't been there, and the presence and all the hundreds of books that are sitting there now, it wouldn't have happened. But the impact has been made, and it's eternal.
There was
Yes.
a lady, she came to attend her sister because she was in hospital and she was having cancer. She came to me, she was crying, like my sister, she's in hospital, but I want to do something for her. So I was complimenting her that, like this is the Krishna, like Krishna God in Bhagavad Gita, and it will really help her. So your point that listen to others and compliment. So that really worked, and she got Bhagavad Gita as well and Krishna.
Nice. Excellent. A few more. Share what you saw or heard or felt.
I saw this young girl, I don't know her name, but she was out there, young, beautiful girl from the community. And she was passing out books, and I watched her. And she had so much enthusiasm that people would actually, because she was so sincere, people would actually just watch her, that how she was passing out books for some time. And then they will come to her to listen to her. So I was just thinking that her sadhana, her sincerity to give out mercy was actually very much contagious people around her. So she was like, had that energy.
Who was that? Who was that?
So sorry, I don't know the name.
It was.
But she was here, she's a young girl, 16 or something. And but I'll find her.
Okay, we'll hunt her down. All right. Fantastic. So, what time is it now? 2:40. So, what we'd also like to do is discuss any of the places where you saw there was room for improvement. Because what we'll do at every MSF is we'll find out where any of the gaps were, where you saw something that could be fixed, and then we'll make a list of it. Who's writing it all down? Vamshuli is taking these notes. So whatever you say is going to be duly recorded so that we can fix it the next time. And this is one of the objectives of the MSF, is every time we perform an event, then we make note of all the places where we can improve, and the next time we make some improvements, at least 3 a month, at least 3 improvements a month. And you'll notice the difference the next time you all go out. So what are some of the places that you saw we could improve? Okay, you first.
I think we should carry some sweets to give to the people who are buying the books as a greeting or prasad to them, which you're not doing.
Yes, I totally agree with that. My feeling was we should have big barrels of prasadam. And just as much as we were inundating the area with Harinam and also with book distribution, that everybody in the whole area should have some prasad, just giving out liberally, so you see everywhere people carrying prasad out. Yes? Oh, okay. I felt that it would be important to have a few more language books, because we had Gujarati, Hindi, English. But I was meeting a lot of people that spoke Arabic, and they wanted to have Arabic books, also Urdu. We have these titles so you can keep a section. It doesn't have to be mass, but there has to be a section so that you have some variety. Because the objective is you don't want to miss anybody. And if somebody wants Arabic, make sure. Somebody actually wrote down his address for me because he wanted to get the book in Arabic. So we said we'd arrange it by courier as soon as we get the book. Okay? What else? Other room for improvement did you see? Sanjay Krishna Chandra Prabhu.
Just as you instructed that we should go in groups, so group of 10 was formed. But when we went out, one was distributing and other 9 were onlooking. So we didn't know how the dynamics of the group works.
Yes.
So then we all had to disperse and we were doing it individually. The group thing we didn't understand how to function.
So there could be a lot better organization of the groups, so that people, all the 10 people in each group, or how many of it is, are engaged, rather than one distributing and everybody else watching, right?
Yes, really. So
yeah.
we didn't know how to function, so then we all dispersed and individually we started doing it. It was not functioning well.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Vishnu Nam, did you get that one? He was saying about how the groups went out. You got it, okay. All right, good one. What else? Room for improvement we're doing now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Some of our devotees gave 4 or 5 Bhagavad Gitas in 50 rupees. So some people saw that, and then when I was distributing and I told this is for 150, so they were like they might not get good impression that half of people are selling in 50 and half are selling in 150. So that they might think that something wrong is going on. But then, and he was encouraging his friends to take in 50 only. So then I had to give 2 Bhagavad Gita in 50 rupees. So I think some definite price should be.
Okay, so we make a clearer idea, what we tell people how much the books are. Good one. Yes? Please.
Some of the books are sponsored, it's written on the book. So you can just say that sponsored books are 50. The book is actually 150, but these are not sponsored. Actually, the book price is 150. So, because when you give 50, don't say it's a sponsored book.
There's a little patch you can use. in case you need it. Okay, other room for improvement. What did you see that that could be fixed a little bit for the next MSF? Now's your chance. You put it on the paper, it'll start to manifest. You'll see it. What would you like to see improved? Prabhu.
There was the energy for the first 1 hour, 1.5 hours. After that, the energy level dropped. So somebody has to be taken care of, some senior devotees, how to maintain the energy level throughout the 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
So if you had said correctly, some of the senior devotees could have come back sooner. Is that what you said?
Encourage, motivate, so that they will fully engage, motivate for the 2.5 hours. Instead of just 1 hour, the energy level should come down.
Oh, he needs help in moving the books. Yeah, you need a better idea on the team of who's moving the books. It's a lot of weight.
What trying to say that the group of the devotees were distributing books. First 1.5 hours they were very fired up, enthusiastic.
What tired and not to
After
do.
that they were kind of energy was going down, so they needed that momentum to be kicked in, like something the devotees had by it. Give them enthusiasm.
Okay, that's good. I also recommend, you got that one down? I also recommend that you have water. You bring out water so the devotees can stay hydrated. And if you're going to be out for more than a couple hours, it's nice if there's some snacks for the devotees. Because after the first hour and a half, you can lose a little energy. If everyone has water and a few snacks out there, then it'll lift you up. You can go for another hour and a half. What else? Room for improvement. What did you see that can be improved for next time? Right here in the front.
We can have more titles of books, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc.
Okay, more titles. Good. And he named a few. Yes, Hansapriya and then Madhava Govinda.
We would like to see more kids also.
Yeah, kids Sankirtan. It's a specialized thing where there's somebody who's taking care of the kids, sticking with them, making sure they're okay, coaching them and things like that. But when you bring kids out, it brings another level of energy to the whole program. So good idea, Madhava.
Have some bags for carrying the books and it's hard to carry.
Yes, we need better carrying systems, so you're not just carrying them in your arms. In America, we use what's the name of that company? Huh? What? Jansport. Jansport Driver 80. Jansport Driver 80. It's called the Driver 80. It's got 2 wheels on it. You can put a lot of books in it, and it's really easy to wheel around. And if you had those for the devotees to wheel around, then they wouldn't be as tired carrying the books around. It's much more efficient. Okay? A few more. Let's try to get a few more. Yes? Connected point. Needs the mic.
Some people ask for a plastic bag to carry the books if they take multiple books. So it's good to have a few carry bags to put the books in. If somebody asks.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you had your own bags with your logo on it from the temple. You could print bags. I don't know, do they allow plastic bags in the city? They do, huh? You could get some kind of eco-friendly paper bags or something like that, whatever's the best. Put your logo on it, and it's nice, so when people buy a book or more than one, you can put them in a bag for them. That's good. Try to get a few more. Room for improvement for next time. Watch your MSF grow and flourish by giving ideas. Yes.
Some people don't get book, but they only give donations. So sometimes some people ask some receipt. So we can give.
Good idea if you can have receipts on hand. Very good.
Some people don't carry cash, so maybe provision to accept cards.
Do we have that?
Yes.
Did anybody out there today have the sliding machine to use it? It's a different thing here. It's a phone number. Okay, well, so I guess the thing is everybody needs to be educated in how to take credit cards. Because oftentimes people, you'll lose a lot if you don't have the credit card facility for that. Okay, a few more. We'll have Vishnunam Prabhu come on up here, give a summary of how it went today. Give us an assessment, your overall view of the program.
So this was our fourth MSF, as all know, and I think most of who have participated first time in the MSF. How many of you participated for the first time? So as we see, 90% were there already. But the perspective which we got in the yesterday's sessions and today morning session was very encouraging, and there were so many tips. But what I could see is, I also discussed with many other leaders, that because it is something new for us, it was really challenging to implement it on the first go. But we tried it, but then the mind was texting, oh, this is not working, and they are again going back to the old system. But and how many of you got an opportunity to do with Vaisesika Prabhu on Sankirtan today? So that is also very few. But I was also there, so you could see that whatever he explained us in the sessions, he was just following and talking that same word as it is. There was no change, and everybody was accepting books from it. So the point is, we have to try this good change in our system. This is one thing we can work on. This is one more improvement, that what we are learning should be implemented. Because we have been doing Sankirtan since so many years now, we have our own way of doing it. And if we try to change it in a very positive way, which is very successful, time proven in all countries of the world, and Prabhu is doing it since before we were born, most of us. So there is nothing to be worried about the system and the work which is teaching us. So this is very one big thing we all can have is, we should try to just revise from this book or family business, all given there, what Prabhu taught us, and we should try to follow that as a sadhana in distribution. And I am sure we will get a much better success and bliss in our heart. I'm not talking about the result of distribution, but we will be certainly more joyful doing it that way. Because we don't have the pressure of selling the books. We have to come out of the pressure of selling the books. Unless and until we come out of that, it will always a challenge to touch the payments. Because we all know that there's just a limit because around. Ultimately, we have to push the books out also. So we have to come out of this mentality of
devotees participated 100
salesmanship has to walk. So and the way Prabhu wanted us. First we make friends, and then he was hiding books actually. If you have been with him, he was not even showing, he was hiding the book and we were meeting the people. And they were talking for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, very lovingly. And then he will, as he told, we have to appreciate them. It was wonderful seeing the distribution style, people who were implementing it. And I request all of our team leaders and devotees to try to inculcate that slowly, every MSF we can try. And during the month also we can practice at home maybe. It's a practice, as simple as that. The way we chant every day, it is as simple as that, very simple. Nothing to innovate, nothing to change. Simple principles we have to follow. And these are the practical principles which is applicable in all walks of our life. Whether we are preaching, giving lectures, preaching to donors, or the new people visiting our temple, these skills apply everywhere. If you think on it, it is applicable everywhere. So we are very grateful to you. Thank you very much for giving your time and energy for all of us. And I hope we will try to do justice to the time you give and take MSF to the next level.
This is one of the best experiences I've ever had, starting MSF. Of course, you've been going a few months already, but I was thoroughly impressed with all of you. and being with you for the MSF and leading up to it because of your level of attention, enthusiasm, and receptivity. Just hearing the reflections, I realized how carefully you were listening and taking and applying the principles. And I felt a lot of cooperation and togetherness with everybody today. It was really impressive. And I sincerely have a feeling that this community that you have here can be probably the best MSF representatives here in India. This could really take off. I humbly request you to work together and make this something that is a beacon for the rest of India to see what can happen with the congregation. At ISV, we always think that whatever we're doing there, it's for export. That whatever good ideas we can come up with, that we want to get them out to other devotees. So you should think like that here, that whatever you do here, and whatever improvements you make and the example that you set, this will be spread all over India. And as it does, the book distribution in India will increase. It will double, it will triple, it will quadruple, because the congregation is the sleeping giant. And the other phenomena of India in book distribution, if you look at a graph, it goes like this: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. But why? Why just December? It's just a force of habit, that it's just the marathon. Book distribution's something that can go on, especially here, at all times of the year. And if you just do one time a month, there will be residual effects that will spread through the community. More people will get involved. And there are a lot of spiritually powerful, mystical things that will happen by Lord Chaitanya's arrangement as you continue this. So I'm deeply encouraged by the way that you all conducted yourself and with the leadership that you have here. It's amazing. I'm very impressed with your team. And would you like to say a few words to Sri Ram Prabhu? Sri Ram Prabhu and I have been working together for, when did we start that Indian Sankirtan Leaders Team idea? 4 years ago. We started talking, and Vamshuli and others, about ways to bring more book distribution to India. Even though India's doing more than other parts in the world, we felt that it's underutilized, way below capacity. So we've been brainstorming and working together, and Sri Ram Prabhu has been working extremely hard and making these MSFs manifest. Vamshuli, part of the team, all of this Indian Sankirtan Leaders Team working together, and now we see the MSF is spreading around India. So a few words from Sri Ram Prabhu, who will drop everything whenever there's an MSF and just fly there and dedicate his full time to helping. Please go ahead.
I think one important point we saw in this yatra, Prabhu mentioned, the sort of cooperation here, it's like a family business, really, and things happen very fast, spontaneous. So I think this kind of places, it can go exponentially growth, not just linear, it's exponential growth. As Prabhu mentioned, this year is an MSF year, like we want to do across India, a big way. So I think this is the first start we did, and it's auspicious start, because this is a place it will grow very big. We see for big results. And we also want some of you leaders here to help around in Gujarat, so that others also get benefit of what you're going to do. We may also want to bring some temples, small temples, to come here and see how you did MSF. It can be like an exemplary place, at least for the best June. So we thank all the devotees who participated, and also we thank all the leaders, especially Mr. Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
He's a very kind and sweet person, and he is very humble. I see as a leader, he's down to earth, and he has created a vibrant team which is growing exponentially for sure. So this temple will surely, at least for MSF, will become exemplary, and we have seen Pune growing from 6 to 2. I think next Ahmedabad will go to number 1. That's our hope. Haribol. Also, it's kindly accepted to have hold national conference on book distribution. We'll have next 2 days, tomorrow and tomorrow. We'll have leaders across India. This meeting to 90 temples are coming here to participate, and is very kind enough to host this event here with a free of cost. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we're going to have an offering of the results of today's MSF. We have Prabhupada on his Vyasasana here. So we'll move this signboard out of the way, and the devotees can stand up and come forward, because all of you today have done something extraordinary. You've participated in a most direct way in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. This kind of work that you did today, going out in the hot sun, going shop to shop, is what Prabhupada personally did. He did it alone to start the Sankirtan process. He did it alone in India, and he did it alone in New York for 1 whole year. And so he knew what it was that the devotees were doing when they went out. And oftentimes, Prabhupada would ask the Sankirtan devotees, what are they saying? He wanted to hear the interactions, because he knew what that meant. And he also wanted to hear what people were saying, whether they were appreciating the books or whatever excuses they were giving. Prabhupada loved to hear that, because he was a book distributor. So we'll come up here. Yeah, I'll come down. Prabhupada will come up here, and then we'll put Prabhupada here, and then we can all surround, and I'll make an offering on behalf of the whole team to Srila Prabhupada. Come on up. Everyone come. What's the date? Today?
Today is Sunday.
The 12th? 8, 9, 10. Well, the drumming stopped, but the chairs now are... Okay. Everyone settled? Almost. Dear Srila Prabhupada, we offer our humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Today, here in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India, 100 devotees went together to distribute your divine books, shop to shop, person to person, along with Harinam Sankirtan. And we're very pleased to offer you the results today of the book distribution that we did. I'd also like to report, before giving you the scores, that the devotees here at Ahmedabad have come together as a team to expand the book distribution through the monthly Sankirtan festival, working together as one team to go out at least once a month, all together, and invite the whole community, with everyone participating either by directly distributing books, by giving Lakshmi to sponsor books, or doing backup services like cooking, driving, and other kinds of services that are always needed to move the army out onto Sankirtan. Today, our party went out in 2 big yellow buses, and they got down at Bhadrakali Square to distribute in the bazaar. And the results were as follows. These 100 devotees, all working together in full cooperation, distributed 488 small books. They also distributed 128 big books. And together, everyone, each doing a little bit, collected 22,000 Lakshmi points. We pray to your divine grace. Please continue to engage us in this service that you set the example for the world by doing yourself, writing the books, getting them edited, published, and also you distributed them yourself. We pray to follow in your footsteps for your pleasure, to increase the book distribution here at Ahmedabad by working as a team and finding ways that we can make incremental improvements every month. Please bless us with more and more service for the Sankirtan movement. Transcendental book distribution ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everyone agrees with these prayers, please say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Vanchakalpadurusha Kripasandameva Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Gaur Premanande. You really have something special here. Keep watering it, keep nourishing it. It'll turn into something that will astound the world, and it'll attract Lord Chaitanya's attention. Keep doing this, what you're doing, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Next.
Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, hey, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman.